Maya downloaded Unetwork a few weeks ago and let it run quietly in the background, just like she was told it would when she set it up. Her train pulls into the station at 7:13 in the morning, and she pulls out her phone to check her bank balance, same as she does every morning. The page loads instantly. She doesn't really think about the fact that her phone, still running that app she installed, had just wrapped up its 30th little network check of the morning. A small routing issue near that cell tower got caught before it could slow anything down. The operator already knew about it, because her phone, with her permission running in the background, had already told them. That's one phone. Now picture that happening across a telecom industry that's worth over $2 trillion and serves more than 5 billion mobile users worldwide. One phone catching one issue is nice. Thousands of phones catching issues everywhere, all day, every day, is a completely different kind of picture, and it's one telecom companies never had access to before. Before this kind of thing existed, they checked their networks using a handful of fixed testing stations set up in a few chosen spots. Fine if a problem happens to be near one of those spots. Most of the time, it isn't. Unetwork fixes that by turning the job over to regular phones already sitting in people's pockets. Now, if you're hearing all this for the first time, you're probably already thinking of a few reasons not to bother. Let's go through them quickly. You might think it'll drain your battery like crypto mining does. It doesn't. It's closer to running background music than anything heavy. You might think it can read your texts or listen to your calls. It can't. And it doesn't ask to. You might think you need to be technical to even set it up. You don't. You just install the app and enter a code. And you might think the rewards are just another worthless token nobody can actually use. They're not, because they come from real companies paying real fees, and you can withdraw straight to your bank account. Speaking of which, people usually want to know what this is actually worth doing for. A basic user who leaves it running part of the day on Wi-Fi tends to earn a modest amount monthly. Someone who keeps it running around the clock earns noticeably more. And if you're managing more than one license, maybe on a couple of family devices, that adds up further. Nobody's getting rich off it overnight, but it's real money for a phone just sitting there doing its thing. You don't need to buy anything big to take part either. There's a separate tier of people who buy full node licenses, and those are limited on purpose. Only a few thousand exist, which keeps things from getting flooded and diluted. But for someone like Maya, none of that matters. All she needed was a license code from someone who already has one, and the app took care of the rest. Now here's the part that makes this worth paying attention to going forward. Not just today. Voice cloning with AI is getting good enough that a phone call can sound exactly like someone you know when it isn't. So the real question becomes, how do you prove a call actually came from a real person on a real network? That's a problem this whole setup is quietly built to solve. And it's part of why the team behind it is already building tools meant to verify identity as more calls and payments start being handled by AI systems instead of people directly. The infrastructure everyone quietly depends on every day. There's also a reason this keeps growing instead of quietly fading out the way a lot of these ideas do. The people holding the bigger node licenses actually benefit when more regular users join in underneath them, since a chunk of what those users earn flows back up to the node holder too. So the people with the most to gain are the ones out there bringing others in. Nobody had to force that kind of growth. It just makes sense for everyone involved. That's also part of why you'll see different partnerships pop up around it every so often. One recent one let people buy into node licenses using a completely different, much bigger token, which pulled in a whole separate crowd of people who'd probably never even heard of Unetwork before. Every partnership like that works roughly the same way. It's less about the specific token and more about pulling in more phones in more places, so the network actually gets stronger every time. And if you're wondering what happens if you lose the phone you had this running on, nothing dramatic. Your license is tied to your account, not the device itself. So you just log in on a new phone and everything picks up right where it left off. It works the same whether you're on Android or iPhone too. So nobody's locked out depending on what they use. If you're picturing thousands of separate blockchain entries just floating around unchecked, that's not really how it works either. The chain behind all this has already processed millions of transactions, with well over 100,000 happening on an average day, and each one settles in under half a second. That's not a small side project quietly running somewhere. That's infrastructure built to actually hold up under real weight. And in case you're thinking only 6,000 node licenses existing makes this some small, closed club, it really doesn't work that way. Each of those node holders can lease out up to 200 licenses to regular people, so the number of everyday users who can actually take part is nowhere near as limited as the node number alone makes it sound. The tools they're building for the AI side of things go further than just catching fake calls, too. It's shaping up to cover things like verifying who or what is actually on the other end of a transaction, letting AI systems make small payments to each other without a person needing to approve every single one, and doing all of it in a way that's built to stay secure even against the kind of computing power that doesn't fully exist yet. It sounds like a lot, but the short version is, they're not just solving today's problem, they're trying to stay ahead of the next one before it even shows up. And it turns out, it might just be the phone, already sitting in your pocket, doing a job you signed up for, without you even noticing it happening.